Okay, so a monomial is a number, variable, or a product of numbers and variables. So here are some examples. This is a monomial. This is a monomial. This is not a monomial. What is this called? Yes, a trinomial. So this is a trinomial. If I took away this end part, that's a binomial. And if I took away all of it and just left one term, then that's a monomial. So we're going to be using exponent rules to simplify these things. So first is the product rule. Whenever you see product, you should be thinking about multiplication. And the rule says when the bases are the same, you can add the exponents. So an example of the product rule, let's say you have x to the power of 2 times x to the power of 3. This is x to the power of 5. And if you want a visual of this, x squared is x times x cubed is x times x times x. That is 5 x's being multiplied together. Next is the power rule. The power rule is a to the n raised to another power n. So you have a power raised to another power. When you have a power raised to another power, just multiply the powers together. So here I have x squared to the power of 3. This is x to the power of 6. You multiply those together. If you want a visual, x squared to the power of 3 means I want x squared 3 times. X squared to the power of 3 is x squared 3 times. X squared is 2x's. This is 2x's. And this is 2x's. So total, that's x to the 6. A quick way, just multiply your exponents. 2 times 3 is 6. Next is the quotient rule. Quotient means division. So you're going to think about dividing. If I have a to the n divided by a to the n, you can just subtract the exponents. So let's say I have x to the 9 over x to the 8. 9 minus 8 is 1, so this is just x. If this was a 19, 19 minus 8 is 11. That would be x to the 11. Another example, let's do x to the 6 over x to the 9. This would be 1 over x to the 3. The difference between 6 and 9 is 3. It's going to be in the denominator. And the reason why, I'll draw you a picture. X to the power of 6, that's 3x, that's 6 x's on top. X to the power of 6, 6 x's on top. X to the power of 9, is 9 x's on the bottom. That cancels. So basically 6 of those cancel out with 6 of those. You're left with 3 on the bottom. That's why it's 1 over x cubed. That's the quotient rule. Just subtract. Negative exponent rule. If you have a to the power of a negative exponent, just flip it. Put it on the bottom and make it positive. So here's an example. X to the negative 5, 1 over x to the positive 5. Just bring it to the denominator. I'll give you another example. Let's say I have 3x all to the power of negative 2. Bring this whole thing down to the power of negative 2. Uh-oh, it won't fit. There we go. Final rule is the zero exponent rule.
Still be negative plus 1.
Okay. If it's a -2 exponent on the top, when you bring it to the bottom, it's no longer negative. It's now a +2. Okay, so let me highlight that again. This -5 became a +5 in the denominator. This -2 became a +2 in the denominator. Okay. All right, next one. The zero exponent rule. Zero exponent rule is if I have anything to the power of 0, your answer is 1. So an example, x to the power of 0, that's just 1. 3x squared y 17, all to the power of 0 is just 1. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. Okay, so I'm going to use the power rule. This exponent of 2 will be multiplied to every exponent. So this will be 2/3 to the power of 2, r to the power of 4, y to the power of 14. This 2 went to every exponent. And this can just come down. Okay, so let me simplify this part real quick. 2 squared, that's just 4. 3 squared, that's just 9. I'll just write everything again. All right, now we just multiply across. My numbers, my fractions. 4 times 1 is 4. 9 times 6 is 54. Let's do my r's next. This is the product rule. So we're going to add those. R to the 7. Y to the 14 and another y is y to the 15. We're not done. We need to simplify. I'm going to divide this fraction by 2 and this fraction by 2. So this will be 2/27, r to the 7, y to the 15. Next one. You can reduce the inside first if you want to. So 14 divided by 7, that's just 2. This is the quotient rule. I have 12 W's on top and 3 W's on the bottom. 12 minus 3 is 9. So I have W to the power of 9. Okay, so the inside is simplified. Now I'm going to do the power rule. This was the quotient rule. Now I'm going to do the power rule. Okay, so this -2 will go to this, and it'll go to this. So this is 2 to the power of -2, and W to the power of -18. That's the power rule. Okay, now remember, now we're going to do the negative exponent rule. So whenever you have a negative exponent, just bring it to the other side. So this will be 2 squared will be on the bottom. W to the 18 will also go to the bottom because these are negative exponents. Negative exponents are going to flip the side, flip the side, flip them. So this is now 1/4 W to the 18th power. Last one. You can always simplify inside of the parentheses first. So I have C over C squared, that's 2 C's. Those cancel out. So I'm left with just 1/C. That's the inside simplified. You can also think of it as 1 minus 2 is -1. So C to the -1, and then you bring it to the bottom. You can also think about it that way. Okay, and I'll bring down the rest of the problem times -3C to the power of 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the product or the power rule. This 4 will go to every exponent. So this is 1 to the power of 4, C to the power of 4. times -3c to the power of 4. Okay, 1 to the power of 4 is still just 1. Those cancel. This is your answer. I think there's another question like this where this 4 is on the outside. So let's do another version of this. I think there's another one where it's c over c squared to the power of 4 times -3c to the power of 4, where the 4 is on the outside. So let's do that way as well. So again, this is the same problem, this part right here. So I'll just copy it down again. This is 1 over c to the 4. Let's look at this one. This becomes -3 to the power of 4 times c to the power of 4. So those cancel. This is my answer, but let's figure out what that is. -3 to the power of 4, you can either put this in your calculator just like this. Make sure you put this in parentheses if you use a calculator. But what this means is -3 times -3 times -3 times -3. -3 times -3 is 9, times another -3 is -27, times another -3 is 81. So your answer for this one is 81. So it matters if your exponent is just here or if it's out here. Your answer will be different.